interventions to address challenges affecting Nigerian women. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Women's Health, Dr. Adana Stinaka, disclosed this during a meeting with a coalition of women leaders, representatives of women groups, and non-governmental organizations in Abuja. She said her office is adopting a nationwide approach to ensure that women's health is prioritized in national development. Federal government has directed the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control to suspend all enforcement actions relating to the proposed ban on sachet alcohol and 20-millimeter PET bottle alcoholic products. The government also wants the agency to immediately stop sealing factories and warehouses over the issue. The directive was contained in a statement issued on Wednesday in Abuja by the Special Advisor on Public Affairs to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Troops of the 12th Brigade Nigerian Army have recorded a major operational success under Operation Igbo Idanu 1, clearing a key terrorist camp in Kogi State and recovering arms and ammunition. In a statement posted on its official X account, the Army said the operation dealt a decisive strategic blow to a notorious terrorist network linked to Kachala, Ibrahim and Shoaibu. The Army said the troops advanced through dense forests, difficult terrain, and multiple riverine obstacles, displaying exceptional resilience, professionalism, and tactical discipline despite severe movement constraints caused by fallen trees and marshy ground. Barely a week after the new Commissioner of Police assumed office, the Imo State Police Command says it has recorded major breakthroughs in crime-fighting operations across the state. The several suspects arrested and victims rescued. Our correspondent in Owerri, Amarachi Iwe, reports.
Addressing journalists at the command headquarters in Owerri, the Commissioner of Police, Audu Garuba Bose, said the success followed coordinated operations involving police tactical units, sister security agencies, and community stakeholders. Within the period under review, police arrested 15 suspects for offenses including kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, terrorism, child trafficking, murder, and stealing. The operations also led to the rescue of a kidnapped victim and a stolen child, both of whom have since been reunited with their families.
Within this period, the command arrested 15 criminal suspects for offenses such as kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, terrorism linked to IPOB, ESN, child trafficking, murder, and stealing. Through coordinated operations, one kidnapped victim and one stolen child were rescued and reunited with their families.
Police operatives also recovered several firearms, ammunition, explosives, stolen motorcycles, communication gadgets, and other items linked to criminal activities across the state. In what the command described as a major breakthrough, 5 suspected members of a kidnapping and terror network operating in Uguta local government area were arrested with firearms and explosives recovered during the operations. Police further disclosed that information provided by one of the suspects led investigators to shallow graves in a forest area where bodies of alleged victims were exhumed.
During interrogation, Chinonso Ugochukwu, a.k.a. Bob Adam, an IPOB ESN sub-commander aged 31 years old, confessed to the group's involvement in a series of kidnappings or murder and provided information which led to the recovery and exhumation of several corpses buried in shallow graves in the forest, among which is an alleged corpse of Pastor Chima, one Jeremiah, and one Ugochukwu Obaoze, all of Osuobodu in Oguta local government.
The police commissioner commended officers involved in the operations and assured residents that efforts to dismantle criminal networks across the state will continue. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
The Corporate Affairs Commission says it has handed over 263 illegal registered companies to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for investigation and possible prosecution. The Registrar General of the Chief Executive Officer of the CAC, Hussaini Ishaq Magaji, made the call in Abuja at an anti-corruption forum marking the Commission's 35th anniversary. Kike Loma Ukeri reports.
The Registrar General Corporate Affairs Commission, Hussaini Magaji, explained that the CAC is legally positioned to serve as the central repository for beneficial ownership information across the country. The Registrar General also warns that companies that fail to disclose their persons with significant control are classified as inactive. Yet, some financial institutions still allow some entities to operate accounts and transfer funds. Magaji disclosed that the Commission has submitted 248 fake companies registration along with 15 additional entities to the Economic and Financial Crime Commission for investigation and possible prosecution over illegal transactions.
Therefore, an urgent need for a single harmonized national register for beneficial ownership in Nigeria. CAC is positioned by law and structured to serve as the central repository for beneficial ownership information.
Chairman, Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission, Musa Aliu, stressed that transparency is best achieved when anti-corruption institutions operate in a coordinated and unified system.
Transparency is a choice, a deliberate decision to govern, regulate, and do business in the open.
With the push for a unified beneficial ownership register, the Corporate Affairs Commission says stronger collaboration and compliance will tighten Nigeria's anti-corruption framework and deny criminals safe space within the corporate system. Kike Lomo Ukeri, Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. News Express continues after these were the focus plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
You're welcome. Parts of the north, central and the southern region of the country have been experiencing isolated thunderstorms popping up here and there. Now, even with these rainfall activities, we're still seeing daytime temperatures rise across some cities, with values climbing around 41 degrees Celsius. So yes, it may feel quite uncomfortable out there. So what should we expect going into Wednesday? A fairly quiet morning across most parts of the country. But as we move into the afternoon, conditions become more favorable for thundery activities over parts of Taraba, Kaduna, and Kebbi State. There are also slim chances of thunderstorms across Plateau, the Federal Capital Territory, Niger, Kwara, Kogi, and Benue State. And keep an eye out, these rainfall activities could also spread to some inland cities and also the coastal parts of the country. And that's the weather update. I am Akemi Samarda. Do join us again.
Welcome back from that short break. And then business news. The Central Bank of Nigeria has introduced a new foreign exchange policy permitting licensed bureau the change BDC operators to purchase United States dollars directly from the Nigerian foreign exchange market, setting a weekly purchase limit of $150,000 per operator. The move, the Central Bank of Nigeria said it's part of the Apex Bank's broader strategy to improve dollar liquidity in the retail segment of the market and ensure that individuals and small businesses with legitimate foreign exchange needs have better access to funds. In a circular signed by the Director of the Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Musa Nakorji, the CBN said all properly licensed BDCs are now eligible to source foreign currency from any authorized dealer bank at prevailing market rates. The federal government has set an ambitious economic target of 4.49% growth as the 2026 budget focuses on deepening reforms, expanding revenue and enforcing fiscal discipline. The Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite, disclosed these at the public hearing on the 2026 appropriation bill organized by the Senate Committee on Appropriations at the National Assembly. National Assembly correspondent Anite Patrick reports.
Uzoka-Anite said the administration is moving beyond budget formulation to measurable outcomes, ensuring that limited national resources are deployed with maximum efficiency and impact. Looking ahead, she described 2026 as a year of consolidation with projections by the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Nigeria anchored on improved revenue performance and stronger coordination between monetary and fiscal authorities. She also revealed that Nigeria's external reserves have risen above $40 billion, while enhanced revenue generation has boosted monthly FAC distributions to states, creating more fiscal space at the sub-national level.
The growth rate required to achieve a 1 trillion economy is at its minimum 10% in 10 years. And this is different from what I said earlier of 6 to 7%, which is only necessary to reduce the level of poverty in the country. And this brings me to the medium-term fiscal priorities.
On the legislative side, Deputy Senate President Senator Jibril Barrow, representing Senate President Godswill Akpabio, said the 2026 budget is not about spending more, but spending better, stressing that appropriations must translate into real impact for Nigerians.
Keynes once observed, the difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping from old ones. Our task, therefore, is not simply to spend more, but to spend better.
Earlier, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Solomon Adiola, outlined key budget assumptions, including an inflation target of 16.5%, an exchange rate of 1,400 naira to the dollar, oil production of 1.84 million barrels per day, and a benchmark oil price of $64.85 per barrel.
Inflation has eased to about 15%. Foreign reserve exceed $42 billion. The exchange rate has stabilized, and the downstream sector, petroleum sector, is fully market-driven.
The federal government says the 2026 budget will remain results-driven with accountability, stability, and economic recovery at its core. From the National Assembly, Anite Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Dangote Petroleum Refinery has reduced the country price of premium motor spirit by 25 naira per litre, lowering its ex-depot rate from 799 naira to 774 naira per litre. The refinery communicated the price adjustment to marketers, confirming that the new rate takes immediate effect nationwide. The refinery had explained that the adjustment followed the conclusion of a temporary festive price support intervention introduced to cushion the impact of the biting economy during the Yuletide period, characterized by heightened household spending. And on the foreign scene, United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer insisted he would not resign after a prominent ally demanded the Prime Minister quit for embroiling the British government in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Senior ministers rallied around him over the most serious crisis yet of his 19th-month premiership as rising far-right challenges him in the poll. Zahra Nasir reports.
Earlier on Monday, Scottish Labour leader Anna Sarwal called on Starmer to resign for appointing Peter Mandelson as United States ambassador, despite knowing he had maintained links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Londoners react to calls for embattled Premier Keir Starmer to resign for embroiling the British government in the Epstein scandal, as the leader faces the most serious crisis of his 19-month premiership.
I think it's an embarrassment for Great Britain to have this constant rotation of prime ministers on the world stage, especially when there's so much global uncertainty. You'd hope that our own country would be able to provide some stability and all that.
I don't think he should resign just because there's quite a lot of turmoil in the country and also worldwide, and adding more to the political turmoil in the UK by the Prime Minister resigning would just be a bit counterproductive in my opinion. Mistakes happen. I think he acknowledged his mistake. We should just move on.
I don't think he should, because he should hold his ground because he hasn't done anything wrong. What has he done wrong? I mean, he supported somebody on good faith and that person let him down. Mendelssohn, right, you're talking about. If he's let him down, what is his fault? So I think it's a bit unfair to push him to the edge for that reason.
Several cabinet ministers came out in support of the Prime Minister following several days of ominous silence, including his deputy, David Lammy, Foreign Minister Vet Kufa, and Finance Minister Rachel Reeves. Zahra Nasser reporting for Global TV.
You're welcome. Parts of the north central and the southern region of the country have been experiencing isolated thunderstorms popping up here and there. Now, even with these rainfall activities, we're still seeing daytime temperatures rise across some cities, with values climbing around 41 degrees Celsius. So yes, it may feel quite uncomfortable out there. So what should you expect going into Wednesday? A fairly quiet morning across most parts of the country. But as we move into the afternoon, conditions become